All right, so there are different types of applicators you can use. For this, I have a foam brush that I'm going to use. Often when I do woodworking for shelves, I like the foam brush. I also like using a rag and rubbing it in and smoothing it out and going with the grain of wood with that. I'm going to try this foam brush and see how I like it. All right, I'm just putting on some gloves, because even though I'm using a brush, poly is just super sticky and it's really hard to get off. So I've got some gloves, got my foam brush. I'm going to go ahead and give it a try here. It is pretty thick. It does say it's self-leveling as well, so I do like that feature. And it's pretty nice. It goes on like a glaze. Feels really smooth. What I like to do is just constantly work it into the wood, going with the grain of the wood. You don't want to go against the grain of the wood, especially when you're using the foam brush. Otherwise, as it dries, it'll leave those marks. And if you see any bubbles or any buildup, you just lightly go back, pick it up with the brush, and work it in so it's a nice thin layer, but even.
Okay, so this morning, we got some live edge shelves we're putting up on the wall here. Right now I'm just kind of pre-drilling holes out. We got some more pipe brackets. They're gonna go right in here. So what I did is I measured out, because we don't want to drill them into the knots in the wall. So I measured over, that's about 7 inches or so. So this is gonna hit, this side will hit that knot right there. And we'll already have the holes marked out. Go pre-drill them out to keep the wood from splitting, and we'll get these hung up here. Let's see what I can do. Not going too far in, because I do not want to go through the top of the board. I want to get there. Just lay it flat, make it a little easier on me. Okay, and now the right one's in the right place. No, that was right.
So just so you know, I just got a notification. We just had an earthquake here in Meadow Lakes.
Oh.
4.7 it says.
I didn't feel
I
a
didn't
thing.
feel it that time. Yeah.
I don't like that. We're gonna have an earthquake. I don't want to feel it.
Not necessarily.
Oh, you know what? Put them on the right way.
So for those that are watching, we do have earthquakes pretty often here. Often they're so small that you just don't feel them, or you're so used to them you don't feel them. But Thanksgiving morning, we were woke up by a really good one. I think it was a 6.1. But it was a good shaker. It shook even our downstairs. And but this one was centered right here in Meadow Lakes.
Which is common.
Yeah, which is really common for our area.
Pretty small, so. Okay, loud noises. Ish. Cranking them down too tight yet. It's gonna That's one. Okay, and then you said right about there, right?
Yep.
Okay.
It's like a perfect fit.
It's like you measured it out for that.
I know.
So, however, and I left the drill way over there.
Do you have the level?
No, need the level. We have the small one over there level up. It's looking pretty good there. It's avoiding the knot over there. So I'm gonna go ahead. Put that in there. Still level. That's what you get for trying to do this left-handed. And it dropped a little bit on me. Hold on. Pull that out. Okay. Do that one more time. Okay, that's one.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, this is looking sharp.
Yeah. And that.
And the coloring and everything is looking nice.
Yeah, that live edge just really pops. It's touching the light really well.
Yeah. One more here. Two more here. haven't measured out this last one. This is going to go here.
Up just a little bit.
We're going halfway, right?
Yeah. Basically, take this pint jar, and this should comfortably fit.
So we can go with that, or we can go up.
No, take it up a little bit, because it would be like covering those screw ends.
Oh, that's right. That right there.
Yeah, like right there.
I'll split the board here.
Right there would be perfect.
Okay.
Still gives us a little wiggle room.
Yeah.
And
you want it all the way to the wall?
Yeah. Yep.
Boop. All right.
Awesome.
And that'll be it.
Yep.
Okay, I'll go ahead and get that done.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, shelf number 2 coming up. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, there's one. Let me get the ice machine moved a little bit. All right.
Except it just brought it away from the wall.
Well, I've got to secure it up here.
Oh, okay.
So, it'll be okay. Ooh, it's a tight spot. I have to get a screwdriver to finish that one.
It did
a
not.
Longer bit.
It's not next to the wall at all.
Well, I'm gonna have to take these off, rotate them a little bit, push
Probably
that
not
back.
rotate it. I think it just needs to.
Because if I leave it right here, there's not enough space. The screws are going to try to follow those holes again.
All right, our live edge shelves are up, and we ended up going with the maple boards. As much as I love the cherry and walnut, these ones with the knots in the logs here and everything, they just really popped, really went well. And so we are still making shelves out of the other slabs, but they will just be in a different location. But right now, this is what we have. And we're pretty excited. We really like how everything is looking. These are nice and sturdy, so we'll be able to use them for displaying and adding a little bit more space to our kitchen so that not all of our products have to go back to the pantry. So just thought we'd share that with you real quick. Well, welcome back. Today I am going to be canning some beef stew, and I have 6 quarts set aside for beef stew, and then I have another quart. I have some lamb stew meat, so I'm going to make a 7th quart, but that one will use lamb stew meat. I'm going to walk you through the steps that I'm going to do to make our beef stew, and we hope you enjoy. So the first thing, what you'll need to get started are your jars. I'm using quart jars because these are going to be for a meal. You can can these in smaller jars if you want individual portions. I'm going to do them in quart jars myself. Um, I've also got rings and new lids. I only use new lids. All of my things have already been sterilized. However, if you can, you know that some of those recommendations have changed now with the United States. But look into that yourself, and you do what's right for you when it comes to that. But I have sterilized my jars and all the things that I'm going to be using. I'm also going to be utilizing this wonderful funnel here. And I know there are a couple different variations out there from varied companies in that. This is just the one I have available readily here where we're at in Alaska. Um, and so what I'm going to start with is putting in the meat. I do have beef. Instead of stew meat, I'm using chuck roast. So I took 3 chuck roasts and cut those up. And then the lamb is actual lamb stew meat. All right, so I have my beef meat that I'm going to use for the beef stew. I have my lamb, and then I have potatoes, onions, celery, and carrots. I know I have a lot of carrots here. The reason why is I was able to acquire a lot of organic carrots, and so whatever I don't use for the beef stew, I'm going to can carrots afterwards. I will be adding in some seasonings. I'm pretty bland when it comes to seasonings, but I add very little ahead of time because later you can add all you want. You can add seasonings, herbs, if you add gravy mix or whatever you decide you want to add. For me, I am going to use some canning salt. I have lots of different types of salt, but I still have some canning salt, so I'm going to go ahead and utilize that. I'm going to put a little bit of pepper and a little bit of thyme in each quart, and I'm going to do that at the end. Some people I have seen where they mix the spices in with their meat, but because I know I'm going to have some meat left over, I'm going to go ahead and add the spices the very last and not mix it right in with the meat. This is what we're going to go ahead and start with. We're going to start with the meat. And the first quart, I'm going to go ahead, this is lamb stew meat that we had left over when we were making some Irish stew a while back. So I'm going to go ahead and get that put in. All right. So there is the lamb. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and continue on with the beef. And I'm going to put a layer of beef in each one of these 6 quart jars. And these little colanders are nice because it does limit how much of the slimy stuff, how much of your ingredients, fall out or end up going down the side of the jar. And they help keep the rim a little bit cleaner. It is convenient to use and nice. But when you're all done, I would highly recommend still wiping down all of your all of the edges, the rims. And you can gauge this to how you like your beef stew. If you like beef stew that's more meaty, put in a little bit more. If you like your beef stew with just a little bit of meat but more veggies, then go ahead and make sure your veggies are the prime, what you put in your jars. So gauge it to how you like it. Alrighty. I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break. I'm going to go wash my hands before, so I'm not touching the meat and then the veggies as well. And I'll be right back. Okay, I'm next going to add the celery and the onions. The celery and the onions are going to be there mainly for a little bit of flavor. So there's not going to be a lot of celery and onions in each one, but I'm going to go ahead and add that next. And with the meat, I cut the meat in chunks that are about an inch to inch and a half cubed. Those were the recommendations. And the onions, I tend to cut a little bit thinner and smaller. My celery, I didn't cut in big cubes. I cut in some small pieces because whatever's left over, I will freeze and use that for various soups. And next time I do the lamb stew, I want to read up on it, but usually we use turnips and rutabaga with that. So I want to do a little bit of reading on that, just to make sure I can utilize those root vegetables, but do it in a safe way as well. All right, so that was the onions. I'm going to add just a little bit of, like 2 small handfuls of celery. All right, and then next I'm going to go ahead and put in some carrots. And I'm not measuring, so do what's good for you. You're going to want to make sure you can still push everything down and save some space for some potatoes. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and top them off with potatoes. You do want to leave at least 1 inch. You want to leave 1 inch of head space, which typically on your jars on a quart jar is going to be this bottom ring. So you don't want to fill your product up past that because you're going to want to leave some space for head space. And we'll explain more about that here in just a few moments. Now with the potatoes, after I cut them up, I did soak them a little bit, just in some water. It does help remove some of the surface starch. And I read that it does help keep some of the coloring. I don't know how true that is, but we'll see. Okay, so I have all my vegetables in. Next, what I'm going to do is add the seasonings, and then I'm going to add some hot boiling water to each of the jars. Some people will use broth or a brine that they make. I have a lot of stomach issues, so I'm going to keep it very basic. So I'm just going to use some hot boiling water, but I'm first going to add the seasonings. I'm going to put a teaspoon of salt in each quart, and then about a half teaspoon of black pepper and a quarter teaspoon of thyme into each. Before, I'm going to add 3 seasonings. The first, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of canning salt. And you can use, there's so many different types of salt out there you can use. I'm just choosing to use the rest of my canning salt because I still have a bit left over here. All right, and then a half teaspoon of pepper. Actually, I think I'm going to just go with a quarter teaspoon of pepper. I'm not big on pepper myself, but we can always add later if we need more. All right, and then we're going to add a quarter teaspoon of thyme. All right, so I've got my seasonings in. I'm going to check my water. I've had some water boiling, and then I'm going to go ahead and add some boiling water to each of these 7 quarts. Okay, I added my water. So I've got the spices and the water that will end up being the juice of each quart of stew. And I added the water to take it right up to that bottom edge of the lowest rim. That leaves 1 inch headspace on these quart jars. Okay, now the next step is I have a little plastic tool that's made specifically for taking the air bubbles out, but I just can't seem to find where it got put after I finished canning this last time. So I don't keep a lot of plastic in the kitchen, so I have the end of a wood spoon and I do have a knife. So I'm going to utilize these, and the purpose of this is what you want to do is any air pockets that might have gotten left in the lower layers or anywhere in the middle, you want those air pockets to release and the bubbles to come up so that there's no air. The air can actually help spoil your food, and it could also play a part in whether your jars seal correctly or not, is what I've read. I've never had that happen to any of my jars. I've only had 1 instance so far since I've been canning where a jar broke. And that did not have to do with air pockets. It was overfilled, and I didn't catch that before we put it in. And depending on what you put in your stew, you can do this a little bit less or maybe a little bit more. I just like to make sure that any little air pockets that might be down there where we pushed everything down, have been released. And if you watch on the sides, sometimes when there's an air pocket release, you can actually see the air bubble release and come up to the top. But it is smelling really awesome. I can't wait for this to finally be done and add to our pantry. We've been building up our pantry this last year, and it's coming along very nicely. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I just have some white vinegar and a cloth that won't leave any residue. You can also use a towel. You can use microfiber towels, I know, are really popular for this. You can use a paper towel if you want. I know people that will do that. I'm just going to put a little dab on here and then go around each of the rims, so that way we can make sure everything is cleaned off. And you want to make sure your rims are nice and cleaned off, because if there's even a little speck of a spice or an herb that's left behind and you can't see it, they have the potential to block that seal when you're canning your food. All right, so I have that. I'm going to go ahead and place a lid. And like I said, these were all cleaned and sterilized ahead of time. I know that I have them set here, stacked, but I know that they're all sterile. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and add one ring. Just finger tight. You don't want to go too tight or it may not seal correctly. You do want to make sure it is sealed though, because in fact, that's why my jar broke last year was I thought the ring had been attached correctly, and actually the ring had went on at a diagonal, and I didn't catch that. Okay, so I have the lids on. I'm going to go ahead and add these to my pressure canner. I have a Presto 23 quart pressure canner, and with where we are at in Alaska, I'll need to cook these quart jars at 10 pounds of pressure for 90 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and add these to the pressure cooker, and then once they're done, I'll bring you guys back along. So today's Saturday, March 21st, and we are taking a little break from our pantry rebuild with our shelving right now. It turned out to be a very pretty day. It's beautiful. The sun is out shining, and my ears are popping. But there is live music at the top of the mountain at the lodge tonight, so we decided that we're going to go ahead and treat ourselves. We haven't did this at all since we've been in Alaska the last few years, so we're going to come up here and hear some live music. Tonight it's supposed to be Sean P playing acoustic reggae. Should be a lot of fun, and can't wait till we get there. It is gorgeous out today. We are almost to the Hatcher Pass Lodge, and it is just beautiful. You can kind of see behind me, the mountains are glistening. It is about 20 degrees right now, so with the sun out and the 20 degrees, there's a little bit of a melt going on as well, but it actually feels really, really good. I'm actually overdressed right this minute because we're getting so used to the negative temperatures. So when it's 20 degrees, there's such a big difference in temperature, but it is gorgeous out here.
Hatcher as well as catching some live music right here on top of the mountain.
Like a river flows slowly to the sea, like a river flows slowly to the sea. Silence of wisdom, some things are meant to be.
All right, this is smoked salmon on a bagel with capers and red onions. And, potato salad with dill.
Thank you so much. My music tells me what you need. Hope you guys are doing it. Hold on.
Nope, I'm good.
Really awesome.
I was doing capers,